all know the name Hershey's. It is the ultimate American chocolate brand. When you bite into the Hershey's bar, it tastes like sweet success. But the real origins of this chocolate empire are incredibly bitter. This isn't just a story about a guy who liked candy. This is a story of a man whose family was cursed by failure, who went completely bankrupt twice, and who sold his only successful business to risk everything on a crazy gamble. And beyond the founder's story, there is a dark, disturbing reality about the modern chocolate industry as a whole that companies try to keep completely hidden. This is the untold truth of Hershey's. Our story starts with Milton Hershey, a boy who grew up in abject poverty. His father was a dreamer who completely failed at an endless strings of business ventures, leaving the family constantly broke. Milton wanted to escape the cycle, so he learned candy making. But the curse of failure seemed to have followed him. Milton opened his first candy shop in Philadelphia, and after 5 years of exhausting work, it completely collapsed into bankruptcy. He tried again in New York City, and once again his business went totally bankrupt, leaving him with crushing debts and entirely penniless. Milton refused to quit. He swallowed his pride and hustled to secure a massive order from British candy importer. Using that order as proof, he somehow managed to secure a small $700 loan from the bank to buy new candy making equipments. With this tiny lifeline, he founded the Lancaster Caramel Company. But this time, he learned from the past mistakes. Instead of trying to sell individual penny candies in highly competitive cities, he focused on a smaller town with zero competition and sold his caramels in bulk. To keep his costs at the lowest as possible, his mother and his aunts worked for free, wrapping the caramels by hand. The hard work paid off. He launched a brand of caramels named Crystal A, and it was a massive hit. He continuously reinvested his profits into expansion, and by the time he was 36 years old, he had finally defeated his father's curse. He had hundreds of employees and multiple factories. He was finally rich. At this point, most people would have just relaxed and enjoyed their wealth. But Milton had a crazy vision. At the time, milk chocolates was a rare, expensive luxury only the ultra rich could afford. Milton wanted to mass produce it so everyone could eat it. So he did the unthinkable. He sold his extremely successful caramel company for an unprecedented $1 million. He risked every single penny of his fortune to build a massive chocolate factory in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by dairy farms. His insane gamble worked, making him one of the wealthiest men in the American history. But the modern chocolate industry has a very dark side. For years, the industry has known about horrific practices in their supply chains, yet arguably hasn't done enough to fix them. Back in the year 2000, reports exposed that major chocolate manufacturing companies were fully aware that forced labor and even enslaved children were working on cocoa plantations in the places like the Coast. While companies promised to make their chocolates slavery free, they continuously missed their own deadlines over the years. So, next time you enjoy a cheap chocolate bar, remember the bankruptcies it took to build the empire and the heavy human cost that still secretly funds the chocolate industry today.